talk about two new concepts coming out in WISH 3.6.01 in July 2018. And they appear on both the client's workbook and also the child's workbook, so I'm going to discuss them both. They're somewhat similar and yet somewhat different, so I'm going to cover them both in this video. The first one is, you see here in the client workbook on the Address and Miscellaneous tab, down at the bottom here there's this new field called FYI, and you can see where in fact we filled out this particular piece of information. We wanted to instruct our staff that if you're asked to change your oxygen tank, not to do that. And what I want you to see is that when you do populate this field, what happens is it turns on an FYI flag at the very top of the screen. So if you're looking at a client's record, you can see really quickly that there is an FYI slated for them, and you can get to that rather quickly simply by going to this tab. Or as if for example, if I remove that, see how the tag up here goes away, or the flag goes away. I just want to put that back in here. Now the same is true on the child's record. So on the child's record, that's just located on the basic info, and it's located here. And once again, if I were to type something in, you see how it causes this FYI flag at the top of the child's workbook to show up. So that's the FYI field that's available now on both the child's workbook and on the client's workbook. That's tied in to one other new thing that we've added, and that is we added a sheltered dietary and allergy report. So if you were to click down here and print that information, what happens is this prints a list of, let me see if I can make this a bit bigger so we can, okay. So this prints a list of anybody who's staying in the shelter, and if they have an FYI showing up, it shows up on this report, and under the first column, it will show up if they've been flagged as having any dietary requests or needs or allergies, if that's flagged, and that will print out on here. So that comes up, counts both the children and the adults in there again, and basically that comes into play if you took the dietary needs and or if they have any FYI on their file here. Okay, so that's the one thing I want to talk about, the FYI standing, of course, for your information. The second thing that I wanted to add in this same video, it's somewhat different, but on the client workbook, it's located here. It has to do with the collateral information. And collateral information here, for example, we've got where she works, who her lawyer is, and any information release detail. What you'll notice now is when you do add new critical or collateral information after this point, it dates it automatically, so it tells what date that was put in. Secondly, we've always had a checkbox, often called valid, but now we've renamed that to current. And we added a second one, which is critical information. And the concept of the critical information checkbox comes into play because if you're printing from this client's workbook, you can now choose to print just a collateral information that's marked as critical. This is also another new report. You can print all of the current collateral information, but if you just want a critical list, you can do that as well. So the critical one, let me move that aside, will print all of these contact information as long as it's marked yes being critical. And this choice here will print all of the other contact information as long as it's marked current. So those are two new additions to the workbook printing. Same is true in the child's workbook. By the way, but it's located under this tab, Other Contacts, and you see we added a critical information and a date tab. So it's exactly the same as a client workbook. Anyway, those are a couple new additions coming to both the client workbook and the child workbook in WISH 3.6.02.